A very good evening to you tuned into UBC TV. Thank you so much for making us part of your evening. Today is one of those very last days of this month of November. My name is Michael Jordan Lukumwan. Every Friday we come in with our talk show, Pick a Point, where the target, I always emphasize it, is that by the end of the show, yes, we share a lot of information, but whoever is watching must have learned something. Go away with something after the show has ended. Now, on the 1st of December, we shall join the rest of the world to commemorate and mark the World AIDS Day. Like I said some days ago, we shall end this month with programs only directed to the HIV/AIDS scourge. The other day on Wednesday, I hosted a doctor here. He's called Dr. Byamukama someone, but he's the head of prevention of HIV in the Uganda AIDS Commission. In our discussion, he hinted something, that gender-based violence is among those key issues that have contributed highly to the escalation of the HIV scourge in Uganda. We have people that are handling that specifically. So we want to get to hear from them, how is that an attribute to the HIV/AIDS escalation, and what are we doing as a country, or what can we do to solve it? Their work is to empower women to avoid being victims of the violence. So what can we do, and what has been done in our beautiful country, Uganda? So welcome aboard. My guest is Miss Nakame Sarah. She's the programs manager in the Mentoring and Empowering Program for Women and Girls. That is the right.
The Mentoring and Empowerment Program for women.
For women.
For young women.
For young women. You're most welcome, Sarah.
Thank you very much.
How is everything?
Very good.
Yes, we want to first understand now in detail, when somebody talks about gender-based violence, yes, we hear the word so much. Many of us think it's me beating my wife or my wife beating me. What exactly does it mean in its real context? Because we want to reach that point of knowing how it now attributes or contributes to the escalation of HIV.
Thank you, Michael. So, when we talk about gender-based violence, we talk about threat, we talk about physical harm, we talk about emotional threat. I don't want to use the word violence, but so we talk about economic impediments, simply because someone is a man or a woman. So as long as you have any threat, any beating, any emotional, psychological, physical threat or harm done to you, simply because you are a man or a woman, then we call that gender-based violence.
Okay.
So it's not because I annoyed you, or it's not because but you just do it simply because you're using my sex, you're using my being male or using my being female to
taking advantage of my gender.
Take advantage of my gender to inflict harm or to threaten or to cause, any kind of psychological torture. So we call that gender-based violence.
It sounds something simple.
Well, it is not a simple thing, because then what that means, especially in our culture, where the women are the weaker sex, so it means that they will be taken more advantage of. It means that they are more vulnerable to physical harm, to psychological threat, to emotional torture, to economic violence, because of where we're coming from, because of our culture, because of our settings that speak to the female as the weaker sex. So you'll find that. And again, so there are many situations that really corner around this thing. So when you look at the education, and I'm not saying that the more educated you are, the less prone you are to violence, but it gives you a leverage. It gives you, it gives you some power to say no, or sometimes to prevent violence. So the lesser educated you are, the more prone you are to gender-based violence. And again, the lesser, your status is, and I'm not saying that those who are higher in status do not face gender-based violence, but we need to consider those situations that may increase, the prevalence of violence, of gender-based violence against women, for instance. Yeah, so we have, when you're talking about gender-based violence, we look at it in a circle. Like, what are the factors that may increase the risk of someone falling prey to gender-based violence, or what are some of the factors that may limit or may curtail the violence from one gender from falling prey to gender-based violence.
Okay.
So it is really not as simple term as it may sound. Again, because the impacts are far-reaching, both on community, on the individual, on the national, and on the global scene. Yeah.
How would you describe the rates in our current Uganda?
Yes, so
who is being a victim of this violence and the threatening and things like that? Is it women or men, and why?
Yeah, so like I've already hinted on the fact
in what
that,
ways mainly?
Yeah, so I would dovetail on what I talked about and say that Uganda Bureau of Statistics right now places the occurrence of gender-based violence at 59.5% for women. Yeah, so meaning that women and girls are more at risk of gender-based violence. Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, I wanted to know at what rates and what exactly is being done to those that are victimized.
So, I work with a mentoring and empowerment program for young women. And the biggest challenge we have found is that victims of, you've talked about the word victimizing. I'll give a scenario. I'll not mention names. I think maybe 2 months ago, the media ran a story of a girl who was raped in one of our top schools, in Uganda. The challenge with that is that we did not see a lot of the stories telling us the perpetrator, so and so raped a girl. But what we heard is this person's daughter was raped. So in other words, the perpetrator was protected, and the girl is all we heard about. Okay. So if you invert that, that kind of scenario, where we know that if you are criminal, for instance, if you are rapist, if we know you for beating women and girls, we throw the spotlight on you. That would go a long way, in trying to mitigate or in trying to reduce on the problem of gender-based violence. The problem is the spotlight instead is put on the victim, like you said. So they are even victimized the more. So that in a school, for instance, if I know that a newspaper ran a whole story about me, and yet I am right now the victim in this scenario, instead of the newspaper running that story about the perpetrator, because it is the criminal we want to pick out, not the individual who has fallen victim of this crime. So we want to be able to shift, this kind of reporting, this kind of narrative.
But in the other way, in some other angle, I would think that there's so much talk about this young lady, Sarah. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
It is calling for attention about the problem that she encountered, so that somebody can come to her rescue, somebody can pay attention and do something. Why is it looked at in a way as if she's being stigmatized?
Yeah.
Yet in some other person's view, it would be the more alarm that is made, the more attention it will attract.
So you're actually exposing this girl to a lot of tragedy, because already she has gone through tragedy. It's very traumatic, to fall prey of a rape experience. And now, in addition to that, you're exposing her to a lot of risk, a lot of stigmatizing, a lot of isolation. Now everybody know I'm the one who was raped. That means it is a far-reaching impact on her future. And yet, do you even know the teacher who raped the girl?
No.
You don't know. Many of us do not know the name of the person who raped, all right? Because it was covered up. Probably because of the school. So, but imagine if all rapists knew that once I commit this crime, my name is going to be on top of the, it's going to be all headlines. So and so raped a girl. When I look on TV, when I switch on radio, everything is talking about me. You know what that would do? It would shake the whole system up. But the problem is that the perpetrators are instead covered up, and then the whole burden is shifted to the victim, and so she has to carry the burden first of all of the rape.
But what you call burden, what you call a burden,
Yeah.
in my view, seems to be sympathy, because all of us, everyone's attention in sympathy will go to the girl, the victim. That's why probably they are talked about so much than.
You see, when you have gone through rape, you do not need sympathy alone. Yeah? You do not, in fact, you do not need sympathy. All you need are people who know what it feels like to be raped. Yeah? And I've already talked about the far-reaching impact of that rape for you. So you do not need sympathy of a whole community. You do not, in fact, we should use shame, as a public tool to kind of deal with this, with this issue of gender-based violence.
Yes.
But the problem is we're shaming the victims instead of shaming the perpetrators. So for me, I am strong on saying that let's shame the perpetrators, let's name them, let's publicize them, so that if anybody who is out of their mind, they will think twice. Because it's about self-control. You cannot say that if you are a teacher in a class, your responsibility is purely to help learners to learn. Your responsibility is not to pinpoint girls who have bigger breasts, those who have bigger bums. In fact, right now I'm doing a social survivor skills training in one of the schools in Kampala, and there's this young girl who told us of an experience where her mathematics teacher, so she failed mathematics, and the teacher said, I can help you. So this is a teacher. Definitely he has power over the girl because he's a teacher. He's even older than the girl.
He's promising something positive.
And now the girl, because already she's vulnerable, she's failing mathematics, the teacher uses this risky situation and says, I want to help you in mathematics. So he told the girl, let's meet at the library. So the girl went to the library. When they reached there, he said, before we go into the mathematics, I would like to know the color of the panty you are putting on. Imagine that. Imagine that situation where someone who is using their power, over the vulnerability of this little girl, and they want to take advantage of the fact that they're not performing well in mathematics to sexually harass her. So the good thing is the girl was, quick on alarm. She knew that this is not going to go any easy, so she made an alarm and she quickly, and she was able to be saved from that situation. And then the good thing in that also is that the school recognized that actually this man has been a problem in this school. Many girls have been reporting this, and so he was, taken out of the school. But the problem is with many schools, again, because I work a lot in schools, when incidences of violence, for instance, we know that teachers are also very high perpetrators of violence against women and violence against girls, and in both primary, secondary, and higher institutions of learning. So they use their power over the girls too. And again, the big thing about violence is someone using their power over you, either because you're weaker sex, quote unquote, or
in different situations.
In different situations.
What I want to know, we so much look at gender-based violence. In fact, it's bent. I don't know why. Actually, in fact, the girls are being victimized. We look at it as, whenever we talk about gender-based violence, oppression of the girls or women is what is brought at the forefront. First of all, why? Two, are there other ways that bring out gender-based violence besides sexual harassment and sex-related areas?
So when you're talking about gender-based violence, we're talking about physical torture.
Yes.
The beating. We are talking about the abusing. We are talking about the threatening.
Yes.
I'll chase you out of my house.
It happens to men and boys as well, so many times.
So we're talking about the economic violence.
So many times. Actually, men of all classes, men at all levels, face what you're talking about.
But you see, we're also using the Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Statistics. And so if they say that 59.5% of people who fall prey to gender-based violence are women. It means that women are more vulnerable to gender-based violence. Or if they say that 45% of perpetrators are husbands and teachers, so that is the truth. That is something to go by, because these are national statistics, right? So we are not saying that men do not suffer gender-based violence, but already the statistics are telling us that there is a bigger
The number of the
problem.
ladies are higher.
The number of ladies who are suffering gender-based violence is higher, and those are statistics to be relied on because they are government statistics.
Okay. So, are there other areas that we can also look at in this blanket of gender-based violence that are not sexual related?
Yeah, so I have already given an example of girls in school, and then I also talk about caning, corporal punishments in school. That is heavier on girls than on boys.
Really? Does that happen anywhere?
Yes, it does.
What is given to girls that is heavier than what is given to boys? And in which school, for example?
I cannot, of course, mention schools, names of schools right now.
Okay, but where is that and what punishments? I've never seen that actually.
So, for instance, if you tell a girl to go outside in the sun for her brain to dry up because she has a wet brain, you understand? And because you're telling her, because she has a wet brain, she's weaker at mathematics, she's weaker at sciences, she's weaker at biology, so you tell her to go and stand in the sun for 4 hours. What is that?
Hasn't that happened to boys?
I'm very sure that even in your class, most of the examples that the teachers use in classes, they are leaning towards saying that boys are stronger at mathematics, boys are stronger in sciences, and girls are weaker in all those areas.
No, what I doubt
that
is that
is gender-based violence, because you're saying that because I am a girl, my brain is weaker. Because I am a girl, I am less intelligent, Or because I'm a woman, I cannot do this. Or because I'm a man, I cannot do that. So that already is gender-based violence. And then when you talk about, a lot of beating.
You're advocating for all ground to be leveled for boys and girls.
Right.
So, this thing of having a 1 point for girls,
affirmative action.
Exactly. It should also be withdrawn.
So before you make such a
Isn't
statement,
that a measure of victimizing girls?
So before we make such a statement, we need to know where we're coming from. All right. So if I have an ecosystem of, let's say, religion, I am going to ask you a question. How many female pastors do you see? How many female sheikhs do you see? How many female imams do you see? How many female reverends do you see? So already religion has curtailed certain spaces away from women, all right? So it is, in other words, telling women that because you are a woman, this space is not for you. Now, when I go to culture, where girls grow up being told that you do not look directly in the eyes of your elders, you do not sit when your elders are sitting, or girls and boys of the same age.
Is that
right?
gender-based violence?
Yes, that is gender-based violence.
Oh, no.
So and then if you take it away from culture and religion, you go into school. I've already given those examples where many girls' aspirations is to be a nurse. The girl's aspiration is to be a teacher. The boy's aspiration is to be the president of Uganda. Their aspiration is to be the best engineers they can ever be. And even the teachers re-emphasize that. So in other words, they're even perpetrating it the more to say, when the teacher says that girls are good for arts and drama, while boys are good for... And you see, so education as a tool perpetrates gender-based violence. And then
now I want to look at religion. I don't know so much about the Islamic religion, but in its history, we see Prophet Muhammad, who was a male. You get? And his roles appear to have been superior than the ladies in the history of that faith. With an apology to my brothers and sisters in that faith, I'll come to Christianity. Still, you see the male gender taking center stage in its history. You get? So I wouldn't think it is this making of the people running faith currently that the women are not so vibrant in the running of the faith. But still, when you look at Islam, they are sheikhs. who are female.
Yeah.
Come to
Shekats who are female.
Shekats, something like that.
I need to know at least one.
No, but I've heard of that.
Can you give names?
I will not name. I will not name anyone. In the Catholic faith, we see nuns. We have reverends in the Anglican Church. A nun plays the same
but
role.
But you're
like
talking about nuns. You're not talking about the priests. You're not talking about the bishops. You're not talking about archbishops. Yeah, because the place of a woman is not to be the head of choir, is not to be head of usher, is not to be in the
Catholic
kitchen.
nuns play roles
men can do, right?
Exactly.
Just as archbishops, female archbishops can play the same role as male archbishops. Do you agree on that?
I think there are bigger responsibilities that a lady may not take on.
Why? So I'm going to shift this conversation to why. Why wouldn't a lady be able to take on the position of archbishop, for example, or archbishop or bishop of an archdeaconry?
Because the lines are different.
Which lines?
The promotion of a reverend father may be different from that of a reverend. But I want us to drive this debate.
Because of where we're coming from.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I talked about the culture where when many girls are growing up.
Actually, what I want to bring out is that it's not a making of the current people running systems now. That's how they found systems, and I don't think, actually, how much have you women fought to see that these things change?
So when you ask how much...
And how do they tantamount to gender-based violence?
Yeah, so when you ask how much, the thing is we have had... Women have not taken on this thing on a silver platter. You know, they've had to fight. Yeah, to fight to be on the table. They've had to fight to say that we too want to be in parliament. They have fought to say that women can make it in education, women can make it in engineering, women can make it in leadership. Yeah, so it has not been, one man saying that, oh, because now we are a good country, or because our constitution is blah 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 blah, that's why we're having more women. Women have had to fight for this position. Yeah.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
So I want to know how does gender-based violence, how does it connect to HIV to an extent that Uganda AIDS Commission says it has a strong hand in the contribution to the escalation of the scourge?
So right about now, the current prevalence rate for HIV is 6.2 nationwide, and of that 6.2, I think it's the prevalence rate among women is higher than among girls, among men and boys. Now, among younger adults and young adolescents, again, that rate is even higher. Yeah,
on the side of the ladies.
On the side of the girls and adolescent and young girls, it's higher than among their same, their
male age mates.
Yeah, male age mates. And how that is explained is that these older men, right, they are fishing on the younger girls. Are we together? So they are using their power, they are using their ability to entice girls with money. Just actually today, one girl was telling us a story of how a friend to her dad, was telling her, I can give you all the money you need as long as you are my girlfriend. Now this is a friend to her dad, who is equally like a father figure before her, an adult person, and is using money to entice this girl into a relationship. Now if this man has AIDS, it means that he's going to transfer this AIDS to this young girl, and if this young girl gets a boyfriend, then she will also transfer that same HIV to this boyfriend. And then the cycle continues, because this man is not only fishing on this girl, but he's probably going into university. Girls, we know how men go to universities and park their cars there and, pack girls, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of transactional sex among them. Yeah, so, and we also know statistic-wise that Uganda spends not less than 50 billion annually on issues of gender-based violence, on issues of litigation, on issues of treatment, on issues of following up cases and all that. So that's a huge amount of money, to be spent on something that society can really take control of. Because we're saying, if you are a man, whatever age, control yourself. Why do you have to go to younger girls? Yeah, why don't you go to your peers who you can have consent with? Why do you have to use your power, you know, to inflict on girls and women's
Sarah,
rights?
is violence only administered on younger girls?
So it is not only administered on younger girls, but if you realize...
let me use the word inflicted.
If you realize I'm using the word power a lot, because there is an issue of vulnerability where someone takes advantage of their power. It could be physical, economic, muscle, or position-wise, you know. So it could be a husband and a wife.
Yes.
Yeah, where you see instances of many stay-at-home mothers suffering gender-based violence because the man thinks, I'm providing for you everything, and forgetting all the work that she has to do to enable him to be able to go to work. You understand? So the man forgets that this woman is the one taking care of all the children. She's the one who is keeping the house. She's the one taking care of their, you know, their feeding and all that, and says that you are doing nothing in this home, so I have a right to beat when things do not go right. I have a right to beat when you do not cook food well.
Yes, I want us
so
to look at...
it's not only the young girls, but these things really happen anywhere in society.
Good. I wanted to take you now to a family setting.
Yeah.
How does gender-based violence there? Me just beating my wife, I'm not saying it's good. How does it cause HIV and AIDS? How does it contribute?
So...
because I just beat you, if I say sorry, I've said, and we move on. How does it cause problems?
So, I am going to answer that in a... I don't know if it's going to be directly on how does it cause HIV and AIDS. But many times, men use that thing of, my wife is not good enough, to go out and vouch on either younger girls or on other people outside the marriage. And of course, we know that in many transactions, those, you know, it is very risky.
Definitely.
Yeah. So definitely, it is possible that the man will come back with HIV and AIDS, and also inflict it on you, the person who has been just, you know, a stay-at-home mother. So this cycle is really, really very tricky. So because of the excuses, because of the faults that men tend to make either on their wives or on, you know, girls, then they also involve in riskier, you know, behavior.
We are taking a very short break, Sarah, but when we return, I want you to tell me yourself, in whatever we have discussed, you're emphasizing that a woman is a weaker sex.
I did not say that.
You have not.
No.
You have not said, but
I have
in whatever
said
you
that,
say, you say men are using their power.
Yeah.
They are taking advantage of young girls.
Yes.
Taking advantage of their wives at home.
Yes.
It is only a weaker person that is taken advantage of. Do you agree with me?
It's a yes and no.
When we return. Thank you so much for watching. We are taking a very short break.
Yeah.
How can I take advantage of a strong person? It is only a weaker person that is taken advantage of. On return, that's how we're going to continue, and we want to know how we can avoid this violence, because it is a problem that leads to other bigger problems like the escalation of HIV/AIDS that we're going to have a reflection on Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy this short break.
Inspirational moment with Pastor Jackson Senyonga of Christian Life Church.
The devil weakens people, and that is what the devil wants. In his reign, he wants to destroy that which God is doing, and say that the supreme ruler who governs your life and controls it every single day. He say, I'm going to ascend, and that is the intent of the enemy. That when I look in your life, I look at my life, I look at our lives, there are more signs in your life that the devil is controlling you than the Lord leading you. That's what the devil wants. God will not allow you. He will not ascend over your life. He's not going to be over your life. Even in your clan, even in your family, God will not let the enemy rise up over you and control you.
Geo Tours and Travel presents Namadu Festival, the first and ever Bagwere Cultural Festival. Have you heard of the tally of the 7 drums? Come witness the passion for culture and the uniqueness of the Bagwere on the 8th of December 2019 here in Kampala at Katikati Grounds. Come feast on Nagiro and Owita as we dance away to the Kogo and Namadu at the first and ever Namadu Festival. Entrance is 10,000 and students 5,000 shillings only, and a table 5 goes for only 200,000. Bagwere, our culture, our pride. Proudly sponsored by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda. Kickstart your holiday in style and be part of the grand family party organized by your very own Esezam Tokana, a known children entertainer and mother. It will be fun, it will be exciting, it will be memorable with lots of prizes to be won. It's going to be the best of the children's end of year party on the 1st of December 2019 in the UBC Gardens, hosted by Esezam Tokana. Lots of entertainment, including live performances from Uganda's finest, Fresh Kid, Pastor Wilson Bugembe, Kapiripiti.
Yagoba tegezange nakuzo mwezi nga lumu December. Tugenda bera ku UBC Gardens. Abato mujje tugalewo omwaka.
Ghetto Kids.
We are the Truest Ghetto Kids.
Yes, on the 1st December, tugenda bera ku UBC. UBC end of year party. Yeah. Let's all be there. You know how we do it.
All the kids come have a good time.
Let's have a good time. You know how we do it. Straight up from the
you know.
Wembley, Yo-Yo, Uganda's best dance group, gets open at 7 a.m. Entrance 10K only and parents free. Come unwind, eat, dance, sing, enjoy the bouncing castle, motor rides, camel rides, ice cream, quiz, swimming, sack races, tag of war, face painting, nyama choma, and candle floss. This party is organized by UBC, inspiring Uganda.
I know you're high and you wanna get down tonight. You sipping Henny in the club and it feels so right.
Kuzina ubwavo mujja benyumirizamu nga balina kye balinawo mu dance competitions. Gamba mukwano gagambe mukwano gwe tutunulidde bavubuka. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu.
Let's make love tonight. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Got to do it right. I feel you. Go tonight.
Abange! Oh, mwana sogwatunda yolesa. Christmas 2019. Guguse kuchisawa chana chivubo bulu primary school jangu wekwate chifocho amangu ddala mwana otundira byamaguzi ebyo atono mugatego gw'ekibuga Kampala ng'ennaku z'omwezi 19 Desemba okutuusa nga 23 Desemba guwagiddwa UBC TV, Pepsi Cola n'abanguka mbyefuna ku Star TV emunyenye y'eggwanga.
We thank you so much for watching and welcome you back from the break. You're still watching Pick a Point here on UBC TV. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa and my guest is Miss Sarah Nakame. She works with MEMPRO, Mentoring and Empowerment Program of Young Women. Yes, Sarah, the belief about gender-based violence, in whatever we have discussed, like I said as we went for a break, in whatever you're telling me, you almost agree that women are a weaker sex. You said men take advantage. Teachers take advantage of girls in schools. Men take advantage of women at home. Men take advantage of women in cultural settings, religious settings. Isn't that an emphasis actually, or an agreement that women are a weaker sex?
No, it is not.
How can people take advantage of strong people?
So the reason why it is not, so the easier example, the example that I easily fall back to, is the example of a teacher and a student.
Yes.
So because your entitlement in this school is for you to teach, to transfer knowledge, or to enable, that learning environment, and you're not put there it's not a dating site, right, for teachers and students. So it means that as a teacher, you have a position of power, you have a position of influence. And me as a student, I'm in this school to get knowledge. Okay? It is not a married institution. It is a place where I've come to learn, because there are teachers and there are resources for me to be able to get that learning. So if it's a female girl and it's a female and the teacher is now using their position and power, it does not make me powerless. It just simply means that someone has kind of tilted, the power dynamic to say that because I have this position and because I can threaten you into submission, then I'll use it against you. So it is not because I am weak, but it's because someone is taking advantage of a loophole of power, the power dynamic, and using it to their advantage and not to my advantage. So I'm not saying that women are weaker, neither am I saying that, I'm not saying that women are weaker. So it's just that people use or take advantage of loopholes or use their positions and power and influence to inflict pain or to threaten or to scare or to abuse or to beat, sometimes even to kill.
In that situation, show me areas that show evidence of women's strength.
Women's strength?
Yes.
You want me to talk? So, are you a married person? Do you live with your either sister, or do you live with your wife?
Yes.
What time does your wife wake up in the morning?
It depends.
On what? So, but in a typical setting, really, you'll find that many women will wake up either at 5 a.m. if they have children who go to school, and then she has to take care of all the household chores.
Just like any mother.
It is not just like, if we are parents in a home, it means that both of us need to give in equal time.
So
if you're asking about women's strength,
we need to be real.
Yeah, if you're asking about
women's
strength,
realistic.
I will tell you about this woman who carries the whole day on her shoulder. All right,
Sarah, we need to be very realistic.
And then I will tell you about a
Between
woman.
You and I will
tell you about a woman who will carry her children even when the husband has abandoned them, because they like to say because of poverty
you're mixing
or because of certain things.
Sarah,
I will tell you of that
you are
woman.
mixing two.
No. You asked me
two
about
examples.
women's strength.
No, wait. A woman taking good care of her children by herself. To me, it's a role, not a strength. Actually, the strength would be in her doing it effectively. That ability to wake up early, to play that role as a mother.
Yeah.
You get? As I go to carry pieces of wood, to carry whatever, to dig pit latrines, which she cannot actually do. In fact, if a woman goes to dig pit latrines, she will be on all headlines in this town. Because that's not her role. No. I want us to get to understand this clearly.
Yeah.
A woman playing her role as a very good mother does not make her very strong. Okay, we're coming up. Just in a second, they're telling us we have a live feed that is coming in. I want us to wind up. Just in a statement, how can we empower women to solve the problem of having gender-based violence causing HIV? Just in a second before we close.
Yeah, so for the place where I work with at Mentoring and Empowerment Program for Young Women, we are keen on training girls to know what violence is, to be quick to say that if this and this is happening, I should be able, my tenterhooks should be high.
Okay.
My antenna should be high. This could result into violence. And then there's a lot of awareness that is going on what violence is and how it can be mitigated. But also we are calling on duty bearers, and everybody of us is a duty bearer, to say, if you're a religious person, how are you using your pulpit, to talk about violence against women and girls and men? If you are, in the media, how are you reporting on issues of gender-based violence?
Hosting you? Okay, so the awareness is the 16 days of...
Yes, the International Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence.
Thank you so much, Sarah Nakame from MenPro. That is all we had for you. We wish you all the best as we go into to commemorate the World AIDS Day. That is how much we could contribute. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Wish you all the best.